thing about trauma is that it never gets old. You might, but the shock of an unhealed wound, if unprocessed, in your mind, will always feel fresh, because that's the nature of it. Trauma is an unprocessed, painful past that can't be turned into a memory. How could the world take away a young boy's parents? For Bruce Wayne, his only means of making sense and finding purpose from it came from Batman, where every night he can go out and try his best to ensure no other little boy will be victimized as he was. But then Ronald Reagan outlawed superheroes.
Well, can't say I know what arrangement you're talking about.
Anyways, Batman isn't just another identity, he's also like an abstract avenging angel in DKR, a force that exists outside of Bruce. There's two surreal images that play into this. When he gets a PTSD attack from a combination of seeing Zorro and reports of killings, Bruce runs away and ends up in a position much like he was as a child, but then a loud voice booms over.
The time has come.
The second moment is where after the first fight with the mutant leader, Bruce has to recover his strength by returning to the death of his parents to ask Batman for strength.
Where are you?
Batman needs Bruce as a host. Bruce needs Batman to live. Only together do they turn the trauma into a resource for the present. Only together can they imagine a future. Subsequently, there's two themes throughout Dark Knight Returns. The first is this idea of creating a future out of a hopeless place, not just on an individual psychological level, but also on a social one. The kids in this Reagan era of America, where nuclear annihilation seems always close, poverty is high, and the people in charge only knows how to make concessions for the powerful, as opposed to make genuine decisions that could change things.
If there are any members of the mutant organization listening, the city is still willing to negotiate.
Have become nihilistic, vicious murderers, looking to get their jollies from inflicting pain.
A mugger, he's after a wallet. It makes sense. These kids, it's just random violence. There's no humanity in them at all.
Sounds like someone I used to deal with.
But as Batman acts and begins to make an impact, he's immediately mythologized as being more than just a man.
I'd like to see him show up for my landlord next.
He reintroduces something that seems almost alien to everyone. Social responsibility, in the sense that he is a dramatic example of doing your part for other people, not just for your own personal, individual, selfish impulses or desire for profits. There's a really powerful moment where mutants kidnap a child for ransom. Batman then busts through the wall and has a gun, much like BVS, and there's a hostage, just like in BVS. And just like in BVS, he shoots the gunman and shields the hostage from the explosion. And when I mean just like in BVS where he shoots the gunman and shields the hostage from the explosion, he shoots the gun actually, and then knocks her out without killing anyone. This image of him cradling the baby is very much symbolic of what he's doing when it comes to nurturing this futureless spirit of Gotham. And this is also where the mutant leader comes in. Giving Gotham a future as Batman gave to Bruce comes in the form of de-radicalizing the youth and giving a positive role model for the lost generation to look up to. On one hand, there's Carrie Kelly, whose parents just sit and watch the news and isn't really doing anything. But it's from encountering Batman herself that she becomes Robin and stops the mugger, and even though the reactions is kind of indifferent, she still gets a kick out of reperforming Batman's actions. Furthermore, he accepts her with no suspicions and treats her the same as his sons, as if Jason never died.
I'll never forget what happened to Jason. He was a good soldier. He honored me, but the war goes on.
Batman gives Bruce continuity, a future, and in return, Bruce gives Gotham a future. But then there's the mutant leader, a bold, muscular monster who has an online course to teach people how to become a real man. And Batman realizes he can't match his savagery. Instead, he has to destroy what he represents. He has to show it's not actually empowering or cool to reject justice or to even care about people and stuff by humiliating him, making a whole show out of him tearing him apart. As a result, half the mutants lose the fight in them, while the other half are replaced by the Sons of Batman movement. Carrie Kelly sees Batman in herself, and Batman sees himself in everyone, to the extent that at the end of the film, his presence inspires even random people to start helping each other.
I know I should have been afraid, but this is my block. The guy was mugging a lady in front of my shop.
The second theme is this idea of performance, or better yet, tearing off a mask that hides what society is too afraid to confront. First, there are constant news reports about the worst things imaginable, but the anchors always try to maintain the same pleasant presentation as usual. Then there are the commentary of those criticizing the social change Batman represents. There are often people who refuse to believe there's anything wrong with the world.
He is a monster, striking at the foundations of our democracy. Where are the principles that make this the noblest country in the world?
And finally, there's of course just the story of Harvey Dent that symbolizes all of this with the idea of both sides match.
At least both sides match now, right? Look at me and have your laugh.
Harvey seems to be totally rehabilitated now. He's got a repaired face and coin, but what breaks him down is the performance, pretending that everything is alright when it isn't. He is very much the man Bruce was.
He wants to die.
Are you trying to kill yourself?
Come on.
Oh no, can't do it when they into
You
it.
got everyone to smile and keep their lunches down when they looked at me, pretending I looked normal.
You think?
Cut it out. Just look at me and have your laugh.
Must have been impossible to resist the compulsion.
We still talking about Dent?
Nothing can change what I am.
You and me both.
Subsequently, Batman takes a rifle and proceeds to shoot criminals like in BVS. And when I mean Batman takes a rifle and proceeds to shoot criminals like in BVS, he fires a grapple gun and rescues Harvey, ensuring no one dies. It's this disguise of normality where you pretend everything is okay, that the world isn't on fire when it clearly is, that's driving everyone to a suicidal state, because no one can imagine a real future on the current path. When both sides match, it means hiding what you really feel and what the world really is.
I think it's a mistake to look at Batman's return in purely physical terms. I think it's a symbolic resurgence of the common man's will to resist, a rebirth of the American soul.
Dark Knight Returns isn't just a really cool tale about an old dude reliving his glory days, but it also represents a restoration of community and collective responsibility in an age of increasing individualism.
Talked to Dick lately?
You know I haven't.
And ineffective conservatism. Throughout the story, the way the establishment neglects the needs of the people is what produces the evils of the world. The mutants are a powerful army because a general was literally selling weapons to them when the Reagan administration wouldn't pay for his wife's much-needed treatment.
She's dying. And after all those years, they wouldn't pay for the treatment.
When the mutant leader is arrested and Batman becomes more discussed and prominent, the mayor replaces old Jimbo with someone who will arrest him, and when he dies, his replacement has no clue but to try and concede with the mutants. What Batman thematically is in the story is a symbol that is reawakening the world around him from all of this, just as he suffered a traumatic experience as a child. Gotham is in a similar state where the old stories that made the status quo convincing has become unconvincing by the results it's brought. An American mask that's made people incapable of enacting change and has made neglect and apathy the new default.
Batman, I'm tired of hearing about him. Why can't he just let things go, the way the rest of us do?
Batman shows an alternative where giving into nihilism is defeat, not normal. But as he gives the world a good shake, what happens when the world pushes back though?
Now I'm not asking you to put him down. Not yet, anyway.
So there's also this scene where the mutant leader declares his plans to kill old Jimbo. Batman then arrives in a tank. The mutants don't listen and attack, so he responds with machine gun fire, just like in BVS, killing them all. And when I mean just like in BVS killing them all, I mean he's using rubber bullets so no one dies.